Order all your half-shell favorites for takeout or delivery. Visit www.halfshelloysterhouse.com to browse the familiar menu and place your delivery or takeout order in minutes. Same menu prices, just a $5 flat delivery fee every time at Half Shell Oyster House, located at 115 Laurel Park Cove, Suite 105, Flowood, Mississippi 39232, or you can give us a call at 769-257-7586. And oh yeah, tell them Sonia sent you.
She say sports. She say sports. She say sports. She say sports.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Sonia, and welcome back to She Say Sports. As you know, the month of March, we acknowledge Women's History Month, and so does She Say Sports. And we've had some amazing women come on the show these last few weeks, not only talking about how amazing they are in their careers, but also what they do in the community. Today, I have with me founder of the She Project and COO of My Brother's Keeper. Please welcome Dr. Mauda Monger. Hi, Dr. Monger. How are you?
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I am doing fantastic. It's a beautiful day. Spring has sprung, so I'm doing great.
It was 25 degrees Monday, and now it's 82.
Yes.
Spring was like, I will not be defeated. However, we will have the Easter snap. So
I think we just snapped. Hopefully that was our Easter snap, because
I hope so.
I'm enjoying having my short sleeves on today. So I wanted to. Yeah. So everything is good. Thank you.
That's good. So tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, Dr. Monger.
So I am a Jackson born, bred, raised girl. I am an 833 kid. If you know anything about the city of Jackson, you know Lanier 833. So I'm an 833 kid. Started my collegiate career at Tougaloo College, where I graduated with a degree in business. Then went on to DI Love, where I got a degree in my master's in public health. And I also got a PhD from Jackson State in higher ed leadership. So Jackson and everything related to Jackson, runs through my blood. Yeah.
Truly dear to your heart.
Yes.
I love it. So same here. So
Yes.
Dr. Monger, we've never met. However, last month, sometimes she's gonna get a kick out of this. My sometime stylist with my hair as well as my clothes, Jennifer Anderson, she was highlighting women businesses last month. And she highlighted me, thank you so much. But she highlighted you, and I had never, I was like, oh my gosh. And I was so, I saw what you were doing, and I went directly to your website, and I was like, I would love for her to come on the show for Women's History Month. So thank you so much for taking the call and joining us today. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I consider this an honor. Anytime we get an opportunity to do this as women, to talk about the work that we're doing. And so, for you even having a show where you're highlighting this type of work, I appreciate it. So thank you for having me.
Awesome. You're welcome. So what intrigued me about your story was, because I could relate, you mentioned when you were younger, you struggled with depression, and you know what? Let's not get into that first.
Okay.
I want to talk, because I want to talk about the She Project last. So let's talk about My Brother's Keeper. I understand that it was established in 1999. How did you get started with them? Did you start with them then, or you came along later?
No. So I'll just tell you a little bit about my career. I mentioned business, public health. So in 2003, 2004, I made the decision that I wanted public health to be my career of choice. When I made that decision, I knew also that I wanted my focus to be around HIV and women, particularly Black women. And that opportunity has led me through where I've had the privy of working in research. I have done academia. I am a published author around scientific papers around HIV and work with HIV. And so in 2019, the position for Chief Operating Officer opened at my brother's keeper. And I had previously served on the board, so I knew what their mission was, I knew what their focus was, and it was very closely aligned to who I was as a person and as a professional. And so I answered the call to be the Chief Operating Officer there. Mm-hmm.
So tell me this, you mentioned that you decided you wanted to work with HIV and Black women. Why was that important for you? Was it something personal or just seeing the news and seeing your city and
Yeah, so it's a combination. I did have a family member who was a woman, female, my aunt, who was diagnosed with HIV in 1998.
Wow.
And mind you, when she was diagnosed, it was a different time. We didn't know what we knew now about HIV. And so we struggled as a family. We struggled with her diagnosis. We struggled with her wellness. And she ultimately struggled. She struggled with her health. She struggled with her wellness. So that was my first introduction to HIV. Mm-hmm. And 2003, my sister actually introduced me to a book, Brothers on the Down Low by J.L. King.
I remember that book.
You remember that book?
Mm-hmm.
That book was life-changing for me. It was life-changing because I thought to myself, here I was, a young professional, and at that point, I thought the trajectory with me was business, which is why I got my undergrad in business. Mm-hmm. And I was working on an MBA at that time. And when I read this book, and I said to myself, I started to look at the rates of HIV around Black women, and I'm like, why aren't we having this conversation? You know, and I was looking for Black women who were doing the work, right? And there were not many. There were not many who you know, and that's my journey started. So I'm a believer, when you see things, you have to believe it. My sister introduced me to the book. A couple of weeks later, I was working at Jackson State at the time. He was on Jackson State campus talking about his book. Yeah. And a couple of weeks after that, I saw him on Oprah, and the light went off, and it was like, God was like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And I said, okay, God. And sought out opportunity and had no experience. One of my friends mentioning to them, talking, and said, you know, hey, I think I really want to get into HIV. He said, well, you know, I actually have a friend who's just moved to this area. He's starting some work at the health department. He has a brand new project. And in my mind, I was trying to build up my resume before, you know, right. And a friend kept saying, no, reach out. And so finally I did. Well, no, I did not. I take that back. I locked myself out of my house one day. And it's funny how God works, because sometimes God will sit you down in order for you to get into your purpose. Locked myself out of my house, and my phone rings, and it is this friend. And he says to me, I have the guy on the phone. You're going to talk to this guy. And there was nothing else I could do at that moment. I was locked out of my house. I was sitting there waiting on the locksmith to come. And the guy interviewed me on the phone, and he told me, he said, you know, I really like your attitude. I like your personality. He's like, I'm going to offer you this opportunity. He's like, it's going to be a few months. And he said, I'm going to call you every month to give you updates. And sure enough, that's what happened. And thus started my career. I started with the Mississippi State Department of Health, managing a project that was looking at health outcomes for people who were living with HIV. Mm-hmm. And it launched my career. And that guy became my mentor. Mm-hmm. And what I realized for me, it was that also was life-changing, because I had never had a mentor prior to that.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's it. That's the story. And
awesome.
Yeah, he offered me opportunity and put me in spaces that allowed me to flourish. And when I looked at the numbers around HIV, it was Black people, and it still is here in the state of Mississippi. You're still talking about more than 70% of those diagnosed are Black people. Yeah.
What's amazing, I saw it was on the news a few weeks ago, showing statistics, and I think which shocked me because for a while Mississippi was like, I thought was number 1 in H5, or it may have been Jackson, I'm not sure, but
Jackson was number
we were
4.
number 3. Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
what it was. Yeah, they said, I
Mm-hmm.
thought it was 3, but it was number 4.
Yeah, well, we
So
were 3 and 4. Mm-hmm.
wow.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'm assuming people just really don't believe
We
that it's still out there. I mean, what?
Yeah, so it's really a twofold, right? So you think about October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, right?
Correct.
Everywhere you go, they're talking about it.
That's
You
true.
know, you see a pink flag here, there's a pink ribbon there. This group, that group, everybody's talking about it. And that's because people see cancer as a non-discriminatory disease,
Mhm.
right? They didn't do anything. It just happened to them. And unfortunately, when people think HIV, there is a moral statue
Yeah,
placed on many times with people living with HIV. Oh, well, they shouldn't have been this, or if they had been doing that, rather than considering the fact that we are human beings having human behaviors.
that's correct.
We are human beings having human behaviors. No one is doing anything that no one else has done
That's
when
right.
and if they acquire HIV. And so we've not done a good job in healthcare,
Mhm.
public health, or just in general community, bringing awareness to this disease. And what has happened really is it has become a disease of African Americans. African Americans make up, 13 to 14% of the US population, but they make up more than 50% of the new cases of HIV in this country. In the state of Mississippi, African Americans are 35% of the population, right? But more than 70% of the new case rates of HIV every year. And it's been like that for the last 10, 15 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, it is.
So, because I know in December it's December 4th, World AIDS.
December 1st is World AIDS Day. Mm-hmm.
And so is anything, and I mean, I know stuff, they don't, like you said, I guess they don't really do anything. We just post it on our Facebook pages and
Yeah.
acknowledge it, but nobody's
Yeah.
really doing anything.
Well, there's not this, the organizations that work in HIV, we're doing things, but the most
Right, of
difficult
course, yeah,
thing
yeah.
is getting community involved in it,
Yes.
right? So this past weekend, the She Project hosted She Ends It, which was a Women and Girls HIV Awareness Day. So March 10th is Women and Girls HIV Awareness Day. And so we hosted this event, and I was very intentional about the invitations because I wanted it to be women that you don't work in this field, you don't know anything about it, because I needed these women to be educated. And that has been a personal mission for me, is to spread awareness, not to the people who work in this, not to the people who understand it, but I want to talk to the community that doesn't see themselves as being at risk.
I love that.
Yeah.
We need to get this more, more awareness and people know about it, but it seemed like nobody is, if it's 74% of Blacks in Jackson, it's like nobody.
In the state. This is in the state, not just Jackson.
That's okay. That's Jackson. I mean,
Yeah.
Mississippi. That is bananas. That's wow.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you're, doing the work that you're doing. But I have to go back and ask about your aunt. Is she still living? Is she still with us?
No.
Was she around when you started working with HIV? And
She was. And one of the regrets, I think, that I have about where I am is the fact that I was not able to get her to start medications and take better care of herself. But here's what she taught me, that the key to HIV survival, it is not a death sentence. You're more likely to die from cancer than you are from HIV. that is untreated though, right? That is,
Okay.
if you're untreated, then your outcomes can be different, right? But treated, I mean, you can live a long, healthy life with this virus. So the key to eradicating this is it's early detection, number one, right? It is starting medication, staying on the medication, and just, fairly healthy living. That's the key. That's what you do. Well, here's the thing with my aunt is early on, she didn't start medication. She didn't start treatment, and she didn't take the best care of herself. But a lot of that had to do with things outside of her control.
Okay.
Meaning, when I say outside of her control, your environment, how you're loved on, how people treat you, whether that's family and friends, those things impact whether you can stay or will go into healthcare. And I'm a firm believer is, had we been knowledgeable enough then to say, we're going to love you regardless, go ahead, I'll take you to your doctor's appointment. I think if we could have got her in care earlier, I think we could have had a different outcome. But because we didn't, yeah.
And do you think maybe because nobody really understood it?
Oh, absolutely.
No
Absolutely.
education around it, afraid.
Absolutely.
And she probably mentally, she already felt like she was dead.
Absolutely.
How people were treating her. So
absolutely.
That's why
Absolutely.
it's so
100%.
important. I'm so glad
Yeah.
you're doing what you're doing, because
Oh, yeah.
that makes a total difference when people are educated and know
One of the very first things I do when a person who is HIV positive comes into my space is I hug them.
Because
I hug them because I want them to know I'm okay. I'm a bigger danger to you than you are to me.
Right.
And so I hug them. That's one of the very first things I do. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I mean, that means a lot. That means a lot what you're doing.
Absolutely.
So fast forward 2019, you become the COO at My Brother's Keeper. Tell us what all that My Brother's Keeper offers, and what, I know you're a COO, but I know you probably got your hands in a lot of other things.
Absolutely. 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 Absolutely.
I can tell you that type of girl.
Our focus is health disparities, right? And our focus is unapologetically health disparities when it comes to minorities. And that's whether it's sexual, gender, or even sexual orientation. So we proudly note that we are open to persons who are LGBTQ plus. We are proudly open to women. We're proudly open to the Hispanic as well as the African American population. We want to seek and serve those people that general society may not have been as welcoming and as an inclusive for. So in providing these services, we started as a community-based organization with a focus solely on HIV. It was around testing. It was around linkage to care. In 2013, the CEO, Dr. Jim Gibson, decided that we needed to take it a step further. It wasn't enough just to be a community-based organization, but we needed to actually open a clinic that provided this space. And in 2013, Open Arms Clinic was launched. And Open Arms Clinic is a full service clinic that not only looks at health, but looks at social determinants of health. So we have mental health, we have a food pantry, there's transportation, there's referrals. So we wanted to make sure we were looking at and serving the whole person.
I love that. And I want to get that information at the end of the show, email, website, or phone numbers that they can call anyone.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's awesome. So moving forward, let's move on to the She Project, that excited me so very much. So I read a snippet of your, I guess it's your bio, but you were talking about why you started the She Project. You mentioned as a young teenager, you struggled with depression, low self-esteem. And, so tell us about that time for you, and was there anybody in your life at that time that you could talk to?
Yeah.
And okay, go ahead.
So, I'm blessed in the sense that I come from a 2-parent household,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So 2-parent household, one sister. Both of my parents intricately involved in our lives, but I've always been, I guess, what you would call a smart kid, right? And smart kids weren't always the cool kids.
Right.
So I dealt with a fair amount of bullying. I'm also the oldest child, and neither one of my parents graduated high school. So neither one of my parents even have a high school diploma. So education was paramount in our house. It was, you got to get your education, you got to go to school, you got to do good, you know. And though it was out of love, that's a lot of pressure for a kid.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure, right? And so as a result, about 12 or 13, I started to experience issues around anxiety and depression, between the bullying, between the perfect girl, perfect daughter syndrome, right? Wanting to be perfect, wanting to get it right, wanting to, make my parents proud. And just, the regular just adolescent feelings. Your body's changing, you're trying to figure out who am I, this and the other. And fortunately, social media back then was not as big as it is now. So I didn't have that. Thank God, right? Thank God. But the issues around suicide did come up for me. I actually considered and contemplated suicide as a young woman. And I struggled through it. I got through it, but I had issues from everything from body image to, and my parents didn't have much. Having blue collar parents, they worked hard. They gave us the best that they had, but they didn't have a whole lot, right? We didn't have a whole lot. So I wasn't the kid with Nikes on my feet. I was the kid that had, the Payless buddies on. So that was the story of my life. And it made it very difficult. It made it very difficult once you start the act of self, if your perception of yourself is not a high perception young, those things follow you, because I can look in the mirror and find all the flaws, right? But couldn't see my own beauty. And then this pursuit for perfection, trying to be perfect, don't want to make a mistake. All of those things played a huge role.
That's a lot of pressure.
Oh, it's a lot of pressure. Oh my God. Yeah.
Now, how many siblings do you have? Or is
just one? It's just 2 girls.
And are you the oldest?
I am the oldest.
Oh, so yeah, the pressure.
Yeah. So I'm the oldest of a younger sister. I'm I'm the second grandchild on both sides. But I've been an intellectual ever since I was a little kid. So, at 2 years old, I knew my whole name. I could spell, I could write. And so when people see that, the beauty of that, especially back then when we didn't have computers and all of these different things.
Right.
I mean, my family was like, oh, she's this and she's that and she's this. And it sounds good, but what that does for a kid is it doesn't give you room to fail.
That's true.
It doesn't give you room to make a mistake, because I'm the smart one. Everybody expects me to be smart. Everybody expects me to get it right. Everybody expects this or that from me.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
So, and that's a lot of pressure. So, Dr. Monger, how did you deal with the feelings though? How did you do? What did you do?
I'll tell somebody, when I left middle school, what then was junior high school, I made a pact with myself. I was going to go to high school and I was going to be a part of the smart kids. I mean, the smart, but the popular kids. I was going to be in the popular kids. What I found when I got to Lanier was that the popular kids were the smart kids. So I was able to kind of fit in now, because my friends, all of my friends graduated in the top 10 with me.
Okay.
And so that gave me some sense. But once those feelings of inadequacy develop, they're very, 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 very hard to overcome.
Yeah.
And I don't think they ever leave you, because at your budding years, this is how you operate it, right? What you learn is how to start to see the beauty in yourself. And I wish I can sit on here and tell you, yeah, by the time I was 20, I was great. Not true. No, not true. I think I finally started to look in the mirror and say, you're enough, you're good. I want to say 30 by the time issues around suicide ideation started to, really simmer down, because even in my 20s, I was looking at what other people were doing, and I'm like, well, this person is doing that, and I'm not there yet. I don't know what I'm going to do. It wasn't until I was about 30 that I had stepped into my career, so I knew, kind of my path. But most importantly, at this point, I started to learn my purpose.
And
I
that's what
started to learn that my purpose was around women. The She Project actually was probably birthed mentally around 32, 33, to be honest, because I started to see that my purpose, remember when I wanted to go into HIV, it was about Black women. So I started to kind of figure out that if Black women were, I wanted to focus on Black women, we needed to be talked to, looked at, paid attention to. But my full walk probably didn't happen until I was 40. And there was some snippets and things being dropped that I knew that the She Project was being born. Didn't know what it was then. Now I look back, I was like, oh, that's when I was, because I started doing things around breast cancer. Like I hosted the first kids breast cancer pageant. And I hosted it for the kids because I said, if I can get the kids to come, mom and grandma would come, and we can talk to mom and grandma about the breast cancer while they look at their babies in their pretty little dresses, right? And that those were nuggets of the She Project being born. And there's something about the moment you discover why you're here. And for me, I know that my purpose is tied to Black women. It's tied to poor people, and it's tied to the underdog. It's tied to the people that are bullied or dismissed otherwise by society. So that's who my purpose is tied to. And so when I started to learn that, then you learn why you were an imp in the first place. God, why did I take on all these feelings? Why did I have to go through all of this? Well, now I know, because that built me to be prepared to reach and deal and talk to. I jokingly tell people that I was raised in a way that I can go in the crack house or the White House. You let me know, and I can figure out which one I can go into, and I can carry my weight in either one. And I'm really proud of that.
Oh yeah, that's called balance.
Yeah.
Because everybody cannot do that. That's true.
That saying that I can talk to the CEO just as and talk to the janitor just as nice. That's the life. That's the opportunity life has given me, is that I do have that ability, because my dad was the yard man and my mom was the person who was cleaning somebody's house. And so of course I'm going to talk to those people with dignity and respect, right?
That's right. You were raised that way, number one.
And absolutely. I was also raised to know that those people deserve just as much dignity and respect as the person who has the PhD, as the person who is the doctor. And so I think those things have been the traits and characteristics that has strengthened me in my career, as well as my personal life as a whole.
Yeah. I love it. God is not a respecter of person, but a respecter of faith. And we should be the same way. Stop treating people because you think they're in a higher.
Absolutely.
over you. And if
Absolutely.
you treat somebody else, you know, I hate when people do that. It's not right. And
Absolutely.
but
Absolutely.
you know, you reap what you sow, and you know,
Absolutely.
God to deal with that.
I'm
So
I'm driven by the mantra, to whom much is given, much is required.
mhm,
And so I have been so blessed, right? I mean, I'm a first generation college student who has a PhD.
that's a blessing,
So
especially when you weren't, you know, you weren't around that. You know what I mean? I
no,
totally understand.
no. God put people in my life that showed me what you could do. You know, this is
Yeah,
what you can do. This is what you can be. I had supportive parents who said, okay, if you want to try it, okay, you know. Um, and the She Project was birthed out of the idea that I want more young Black girls to see that if I did it, you can do it too.
that's
Because I
right.
didn't come from money, I didn't come from opportunity, I didn't come from any of that. I just came from two people who loved me, and I came from a community of people who God strategically placed in my life to get me here. And so I want to be that person for my girls.
And you know, and it's amazing. As you're talking, I'm thinking sometimes when we take the wrong route where we're supposed to go in life, because remember how you were saying the struggles you had, and you had, you know, up really until 30, but had you not got into the work that you got into, what if you went another way with this, with the business only, you probably would have still, you know, because we're human.
Yeah.
And you know, so speaking of, you know, because we're human, when those thoughts or feelings come up now, how do you deal with it? Because you have a mentor. How do you deal with it? Because you're older now.
I remind myself now, first of all, I believe in tools of prayer. That's the first
Yes.
thing. Prayer is vital. Prayer is the only thing that I think will get you through in your worst of days.
Hmm.
I also believe in affirming myself. I'm sitting here in my office and I want to show you these. I have affirmation cards. I give them out to other women who may be coming in to talk to me about something. But I believe in
I
affirming
love it.
behaviors, right? So I affirm myself. You
That's
know,
right.
every wall in my house has some type of positive affirmation,
Yes.
right? And it's not just for me, it's also for people who come into my home that I invite into my home. But it's prayer, it's affirming, and it's remembering that, you know, that I have a purpose here,
That's right.
right? And that I'm walking and operating in purpose. So even on my worst day, um, God has me here for a purpose. And how fortunate, how blessed am I that
Yeah.
He entrusted me with this responsibility, right?
Dr. Mauda Monger is purposed by design.
Absolutely.
Purpose
100%.
by design.
Purpose by design, all the way down to my name.
That's okay. Because
Yeah.
that's special too.
See, as a kid, I struggled with that. I struggled with my name, right? I just wanted to be like everyone else.
I know.
I wanted to be a Keisha. I wanted to be a Tanya. Just why can't I just be? But now I realize
It was a
that
reason.
that God gave me a name
Yeah.
that when people saw it, they would know it was me.
It was same. Okay. Not. I'm so glad you said that, because I thought my name is Sonia, Sonja. My mother
Uh-huh.
pronounces it Sanja. And when I was little, my sister name is Stephanie. My brother, happy birthday. His birthday is today. Is Glenn Charleston. He's named after my grandfather and my dad, but we
Yeah.
call him Chucky or Chuck. And I was like, Mama, why did you give me my? I was like 6. I remember I was so upset because all my friends had Pam,
Yeah.
Tasha,
Yeah.
Nicole, Keisha, Kim, and I wanted to be Tiffany or something. And I'm like, why did you name me that? But now, like you said, when Sonia Stamps, nobody else, well, except I forgot, my youngest niece is named after me. So it's 2 of us.
Right.
But that name is special.
That's right.
And when you hear that, you know who it is.
That's right.
God did it for a reason. And I
That's
think
right.
about that sometimes. I'm so glad you said that, Dr.
Well,
Monica, because
well, the thing is, and you can call me Mata, it's fine.
okay,
Um, but I had to learn purpose in my own name, right?
I
My
did
name,
too.
my name means God's gift.
Mine is
That's
wisdom.
just see, and it goes back to that God had a purpose for you while you were yet formed in your mother's womb, right? And so now that I have stepped into that,
Right.
I walk into the room with a different confidence, right? I walk into the room with a different mindset. God set me apart from the beginning.
That's
He
right.
said that, you know what I'm saying? He said I found the paper some years ago where, you know how mothers doodle what their children's name is going to be. And I saw what she was doodling, you know, and writing. And I said to myself, she didn't even realize it, but when she was deciding on this name, that the name would carry purpose.
Mhm.
And I understand that now. My
Did you
name
keep that
carries.
paper?
I still have it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing.
I still have it. Yep. It's in a lockbox. Yeah.
I love that.
My name carries purpose. And so
Mm.
those are the things. So when you're asking me what do I do now? I remember that I walk and operate in purpose, but I also allow myself enough grace to have human days and human moments.
That's right.
So yes, I'm gonna cry. Yes, a day is gonna be tough. And yes, it's not gonna always work out perfect. And that is okay.
And that's okay.
That is okay.
And guess who knew that was going to happen thousands of years ago? God. He already knew.
God knew.
And he already has it
I
planned.
already knew. It was ordained. It was set.
That's right.
My goal is when those days hit, I surrender it. God, this belongs to you. It's not mine. This belongs to you. I walk openly about my faith, but not in a way. Someone told me one day, and later she said, I see your light. And I hadn't said anything about God, I hadn't said anything about faith, I hadn't said anything about that. And I was like, really? And I told her, I said, that is the highest compliment anyone can pay me.
Because you didn't have to open your mouth.
And I didn't have to say a word.
It was on you, all over you.
And she said, I can see your light. I was like, really? That is the highest compliment. She's not the first one, but that is the highest compliment, because that tells me that even the way I carry myself, that people can see God on me and in me. That matters.
I love it.
That's what keeps me on the days when I'm having a tough day, because I know he got me. I know he does, without a doubt.
I love it.
Yep.
So, girl, we're going to start preaching in a minute. That's my thing. But no, seriously though. So, what does the She Project, what does it all entail? What does it all offer?
So the She Project is women-centered and community focused. Okay. We are women-centered and community focused. What does that mean? It was founded and birthed with the idea to create space for young African-American women to have opportunity to exposure to things that they maybe haven't seen before, to people that they haven't seen before, to opportunities that they haven't seen before. So that's our foundation. But where we branch out is that, again, to whom much is given, much is required. If you're getting this opportunity to see and do all of these different things, then we are charged with going out and serving the community, right? We got to give back too. If the universe, if God is giving you these things, you got to go out and give some back. So that's why we are women-centered but community-focused. We're going to get out there and we're going to be out there picking up paper. We're going to be out there serving the homeless. We're going to be out there, or we have and host educational events, right? Education is huge. Education was the game changer for me. But here's what I tell young women. College is not the only means of education.
That's right.
It's not the only means of education. So my goal is also to create paths to help them figure out what their purpose is. What do you enjoy doing, and how can I help you make a living doing it? Right? Yeah. What do you enjoy doing, and how can I help you make a living? Who do I need to put you in space with in order to make a living? Right? And make a good living, not just live, but to make a good living.
Right.
But now understand.
And then be passionate about it and love it.
And then to be passionate about it.
Yeah.
and be passionate about it. You love what you're doing, and people can read your passion. So that's what the She Project is. It stands, the birth name of it was focus out of strength, humility, and excellence. And
Mm.
with through those three things, I think we can accomplish anything. So you accomplish through strength, humility, and excellence. When you encounter us, though, you leave smart, healthy, and empowered.
Oh,
So
I love that.
either way is she, right? Either way it is she,
And my
right?
name of my she say sports. I
You
love
know, see, right, right. Either way it is she,
I
right?
love
You
that.
operate in strength,
Humility.
humility, and excellence. That's how you operate. That's how we move, right? It's my girls know it is yes, ma'am. It is no, ma'am. It is thank you. It is I appreciate it. It is serving a homeless person with the same dignity as you would Barack Obama,
That's right.
right? So, and we do it to our absolute best. When people walk in our event, they're going to say, man, this is a high quality. It may be free, but it's a high quality event. We got high quality speakers. I'm not giving anybody any trash, right? But when people leave us, they leave just a little bit smarter, just a little bit healthier, right? And just
Yeah.
a little more empowered to go out there and figure out what their thing is.
I love
So,
it. I
yeah.
love it. So, and it's a mentorship. So, how do
Yeah.
you get your mentors, or how does that work?
God, I'll just be honest. God sends them to me because I don't go out looking for them. But when something is a calling on your life, no matter where you are, you find yourself,
Yeah.
if I'm talking to a young lady, I'm talking to him before I know it. I'm asking her, well, what do you want to do? What do you enjoy doing? I want to know what's going on in her life. And they either figure out how to do it themselves, or I get a phone call a couple of days later and say, hey, can you help me? Or can you do this? So we do have a summer camp that we hosted the first one last year, but we have a 1 week summer camp. During that summer camp, I put it out there for parents to say, if you want your daughter, but I have one rule with the She Project. One rule, one major rule. If your daughter doesn't want to do it, then she doesn't need to be here.
That's right.
That's a very hard pill for a mother to swallow. But this only works if all parties want to be involved in it.
Right.
Right. So mentorship does not work if a parent is pushing it on a kid. It doesn't work. Does not work. Right. So that's the only rule I have. When the babies come and they want to be here, great. They're gonna get a hug every time they walk away. They're gonna get told that I love you all day long. These are things that I know it makes a difference. So that's the environment that they're in. The summer camp, our first day is focused on herstory. I want them to understand history here in Jackson. I want them to understand the ancestors that they come from. So our first day we spend literally during herstory, and I prefer to go to the Smith Robinson Museum. The two Mississippi museums is great, but the Smith Robinson actually has a women's exhibit, and it is about how women in Mississippi were major players for the civil rights movement.
Right.
So that's the museum. We go to that museum. We talk to, last year we had Rena Evers to talk to the girls. And so we bring in these civil rights icons to talk to these young women about who she is. So that's the first day. The second day is around healthcare. I'm teaching them to understand and know their numbers and to empower them to talk to a doctor young,
I
right?
love that.
Third day is about financial literacy. They have to balance a checkbook. They have to create a budget. They understand the difference between credit and debit and why it's important to have good credit. On the fourth day, they have to develop and present a business plan. So I have small business owners to come in and listen to them pitch their business. So they get their business pitched. They pitch their business, so the business plan. And on the fifth day, it is their self-care mental health day. So on that day, they get an opportunity to understand that even though you may do all of these things, it is vital that you understand as a Black woman how to take care of yourself.
That's right.
So I have a mobile van to come out and do them pedicures and manicures, and they do painting. I also have a mental health therapist come in and do a group session with them to talk to them about,
Wow.
oh yeah, talk to them about depression, anxiety, let them know that these feelings are natural. But here's how we deal with it. So
Right.
we have a yoga instructor to come in and do an hour of yoga with them. And
Mhm.
finally they end the day with a meditation session. And during that meditation session, they learn self-calming techniques. And that's the week.
I want in. We're gonna talk. This is amazing. I love it. I've always wanted, well, I mentored when I lived in Dallas, but I've always wanted to work with teenage girls because I know how it felt when I was a teenager. I guess I was popular, but people, kids are some of the most, they're the
They
coolest
cruel.
people I think on the planet.
They
And
are.
they could say stuff to you that could just formulate your mind. I don't even know if you know the Carpenters. It was a singing group back in the day in the
Yeah,
70s.
yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
But Karen Carpenter, she dealt with eating disorder,
Yeah.
anorexia. But how it came about, she was 17 years old. She was not fat. She still had chubby cheeks like a little girl. And they put in the I think it was in the billboard, Richard Carpenter and his chubby sister Karen. And when she saw that, she stopped eating. And it later on she died of cardiac arrest because of
Yeah,
the anorexia.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
some people can say one thing to you, and if you're not strong enough or you don't have people in your life to build you up, help build you up, or you don't have a foundation in the word, it could do something to you. It really could. This is amazing what you all are doing. How fulfilling is this project for you, the She Project, when you see a young Mauda in the so many faces you come across?
So I think I saw the beauty of this work this past November. I was speaking to a group of young girls, and I've been telling people jokingly, one day I'm gonna tell my story. One day I'm gonna tell my story. And the day I went in to talk to these young ladies, I was like, oh, today is the day, because I used to hide from this story. Like, I used to not be honest about that. I thought about committing suicide, that I didn't like myself and all of this. And so I walked in, and that day I chose to go in with so I'm natural, and I chose to go in there with my natural hair. And beautiful, beautiful 12 or 13 beautiful young Black girls. And so I'm telling them my story, how I knew it was tough. I didn't like my body. I didn't like all of these different things. I didn't like my hair. And I told them how I had an eating disorder too, because I've always been thick, right? And I wanted to be skinny. I told you I wanted to be everybody else but myself, right?
Mhm.
And I was telling these young ladies this, and this one young lady, she just started to break down.
Mhm.
And she said, if looking at you, I think you're amazing. And if you went through this, then what I'm going through is probably normal. And I
Wow.
said, I wouldn't say normal, but I will say that it's not the end. Right? She disclosed at that moment to her family. Her aunt was sitting in there. Her aunt was one of the only adults in the room outside of me and
Mhm.
another lady. And she disclosed to her aunt that she had not been eating, and
Mm.
that she had not been eating um, because she thought she was fat. And I don't think that prior to that, and my girls have, let me say this, my girls have always made me feel and believe, but they love me, right? So they've grown
Yes.
to love me. So when they say that I've made a huge difference in their life, oh, it's because I'm loving on them. But this child had only met me that day. That is what told me, yeah, this is purpose. This is what you're supposed to be doing. This is it.
Yeah.
That was the moment I think that I knew that this is real. that me sharing my story is going to change the lives for other young women.
Yes.
Because that she didn't know me.
She didn't know you.
She had only heard me talking for 15 to 20 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yep.
What would you tell young Mauda today? If you could talk to yourself, 15-year-old Mauda, what would you tell her?
Girl, it'll be fine. It will be fine. You are enough. You're good. And my mom used to tell me this and all the time, and I did not believe her. She used to say, when I would say, well, Mama, I'm this and I'm not that and I'm this. And she was like, baby, your time is coming. Your time is coming. And I would tell young Mauda, baby, your time is coming. Listen to your mom. She's right. Your time is coming. And you good. You good. You good. Everything about you is good. You're good. That's the thing I would tell myself.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Dr. Monger, thank you so much for joining me today. Can you tell the listeners how they can find any events for the My Brother's Keeper and the She Project coming up?
Sure. So My Brother's Keeper, it is www.mbk-inc.org. If you're interested in anything related to the clinic or you need clinical services, it is Open Arms Healthcare Center. That is Open Arms Healthcare Center. The number is 601-500-7660. Give us a call if there are services that you need. We offer one of our foundational services is what we call our BHU, where you can come in and get blood pressure, cholesterol, HIV test, STI testing, and you can do that all for free, right? The testing is free. So just come in and ask for a BHU. But again,
is that Boy Harry University?
It is Boy Harry University. Becoming a healthier you.
I love it.
Becoming a healthier you. So BHU. Come in and ask for a BHU, and that's free, no cost. So again, 601-500-7660. Now, the She Project. The She Project is my crown. If you are looking for anything related to the She Project, we are on Facebook, very active on Facebook, and it is The She Project, MS, all one word. That is The She Project, MS, all one word. That's how you can find us on Facebook.
And is it THE or THEE?
THE.
Okay.
THESHE Project, PROJECTMS. So that's how you find us on Facebook. On Instagram, it is The She Project, same spelling, The She Project, and there's an underscore. So that's how you find us on Instagram. So, look us up, find us, and I'm going to just put this shameless plug out. We have our fundraising gala coming up March 13th, 2023 at the Echo Shed, now known as the Plant. It is open to the public. We're asking you to come out. You can find it on Eventbrite, but come out.
April 13th?
No, it's May 13th.
Oh, I thought you said March 13th.
No, I'm sorry, May 13th.
Okay.
May 13th is our fundraising gala, our evening in Endymion, our Blush and Bluff event. This is where we raise funds to do our summer camp. Okay. So if you thought what we were doing with the summer camp is wonderful, then help us make sure that we can provide more services to more girls this summer. So we're inviting the public to come out to join us for that. I'll be more than happy to share the information with you all, and please share with your listeners and with your audience to come out and join us for that event.
Absolutely. Yeah, send me the flyer if you have one, and I'll put it on.
Absolutely. I will email it over to you. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So Dr. Monger, before I let you go, we play a little game that's called You Can Get With This or You Can Get With That. And what that is, it's a way for the listeners and myself to get to know the guests better. I'll ask you a few questions and you choose the one that best fits you. Nothing.
Okay.
Sweet tea or lemonade?
Lemonade.
Lemonade. Chick-fil-A lemonade? or
Fresh
McAllister?
lemonade. I like it fresh lemonade, homemade lemonade.
Oh yeah, my
Yeah.
grandma. Yeah, she used to make lemonade every day in the summer.
Yes, lemonade. Yes.
Would you prefer being in 1969 or 2069?
1969.
Tell me why.
Because I think in 1969, Black people saw each other differently. There was a different type of community. And because of that community, I think we were a much more progressive people as a unit.
And a force to be reckoned with.
We were
We
a force
still are.
to be.
We just got to find our way back.
That's right. 1969 for me.
Do you prefer being underestimated or overestimated?
Underestimate me. I wanna wow you. I want you to I want to make you eat your words. So go ahead and underestimate me. Think to yourself, maybe not her. And then allow she to show
allow
up.
she to show you.
Yeah, allow she to show you.
I love it. Do you prefer football or basketball?
Football. I am a Saints fan. New Orleans Saints. Whether we ain't a Saints, I am a Saints fan. So football, and of course, I love. So,
Of course.
you know,
Course.
yes.
Do you prefer spring or fall?
Both. Those are my favorite times
Those are
of
my
the
favorite.
year. Those are my favorite times in the year.
Perfect
I
weather.
love spring. It is perfect weather.
Mhm.
So both. Yep.
You prefer washing dishes or doing the laundry?
That was the most difficult one for me to answer because I don't like housework. I'll be honest with you. I think we should normalize having people to come, especially
clean for you.
and clean for you. So,
I'm down with that.
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think every woman should experience that. Should have, any person for that matter. If you're busy and you live in life, get somebody to help you with that. But if I had to do one, give me the few dishes. Yeah.
A few dishes.
Just a few though. So I'm very intentional about my words, honey. Give me them few dishes. Yes.
Do you prefer Taco Tuesday or Catfish Friday?
Ooh, So I got a spin on it for you. I like Taco Tuesday, but with fish tacos.
Okay. Love it. Bam.
Yeah. There you go.
Redfish with the redfish and slaw.
No, I make mine with halibut. With halibut. Yes. With halibut and a beer batter.
Ooh, I bet it's good.
Delicious.
Ooh,
I
bet
tried it in Hawaii. I went to Hawaii and a street vendor had these fish tacos. And I was thinking it was going to be, like red fish or something. But it was halibut that he had taken, and he had a beer batter and it's flash fried. Oh my God. Amazing.
I bet it's good.
Amazing.
Would you prefer winning the lottery? I'm talking about a big lottery, like a $1 billion lottery, or do what you're doing now? That's hard.
That is hard.
But if you had the $1 billion, you can still do what you want.
I was just about to say, I can flip that, because I could take the $1 billion and build an even bigger. So I would take the $1 billion. I would take the $1 billion and I will build what I'm doing. Yeah.
Do you prefer the beach or the pool?
Beach.
Beach. What's your favorite beach?
I actually love what I was about to say. I've been to a bunch of beaches. My favorite by measure, there was a beach in Hawaii we went to. Me and my sister went to, and it was, you walk kind of through the greenery, right? You walk out through this greenery, and then you walk out, and it was like a beach carved into a mountain, right? So you got mountains on this side, you got mountains on that side, you got beach, and you got all this beautiful lush greenery behind it. That was the most beautiful beach. Outside of that one, the Sand Destin to be exact, not Destin, but Sand
Destin in October for the first time. Well, 21. It was amazing.
Sand Destin. I'm not a huge fan of Destin because it's really, really busy. But Sand Destin is a lot slower, a lot more relaxed. But definitely the beach. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Last but not least, who would you prefer? Who do you like? Who do you crush on more? Method Man or LL Cool J?
Method Man.
You should. Well, I like both of them, but that's my guy.
But
Always
I
been my
tell
guy.
people jokingly, I'm a hood chick, right? So that little shake of gangster, because with meth is real.
I know, I
LL
love.
is pretend, but that little shake of gangster that meth has. Yeah.
Well, LL, he came from the hood too.
Yeah, but
But Meth was a little more grimy.
yeah,
He was coming up
I
with
love
things.
nothing more than a man who has a little grime on him, but
Oh,
has
I love a little
strong
roughneck.
ability.
Just
Yeah.
a little bit.
Just a tinge, because I like to see that little bit of in you. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Doc, it's been my pleasure. Thank you so much. And guys, you can follow me at She Say Sports on Facebook. She Say Sports 23 on Instagram. At She Say 23 on Twitter. And please subscribe to our YouTube page, She Say Sports. Well, that's my show for today. Until next time, this is Sonia and Dr. Roughneck Monger.
Listen, Dr. Model like Prada. See that?
I love it.
Yes.
She Say Sports.
Thank you.